Climate cannot identify you, whether you are rich or poor, nor can identify caste or creed. No matter how beautiful you are, if your climate is bad, you are no less than ugly. Let's hear the concluding part of the interview with Dr. NEETA PATHAW, Research Associate, ICAR IMPHAL, on influence of environmental pollution with our interviewer KAKCHINGTABAM RITESH Sharma.
Instead, what it does is that the harmful or toxic chemicals in it, like lead, mercury, it leaches out. It comes out of it and makes its way into the groundwater.
Okay. Which means like even the soil absorbs dirt.
Yes, very much. The soil. So, even the soil gets contaminated.
Right.
Now, how toxic waste, e-waste, when it is heated up, it also releases toxic gases, which again pollute the air.
Right.
So these are there. So that is why it is important for us. Now, I have talked about segregation of waste. We need to segregate our waste. We need to differentiate our waste from organic biodegradable to non-biodegradable. Now, for that, we need to identify an efficient system wherein our waste would be segregated at source, and this can only be done at an individual's point in our household or our business establishment or our office, wherein the waste can be segregated, into two types, the biodegradables from the non-biodegradables, wherein the biodegradables can be used to produce compost or vermicompost, and this very compost or vermicompost can be used for growing our food. It can be used in our gardens. Then when we talk about non-biodegradables, like you have some non-biodegradables like papers and cloths and rags, which can be recycled. Then you have certain non-biodegradables like plastic, glasses and metals, and there is a centralized recycling chain through which this can be recycled. These waste can be recycled. Now, apart from that, there is an ever pertinent issue of e-waste. Coming to e-waste, it is very important for us to recycle e-waste. E-waste is really gaining up much popularity than any other waste.
Right, true.
Why it is gaining popularity? Because e-waste, nearly 3/4 of this e-waste that we normally just dump can be recycled, but there is a process for it. Or it can be repurposed in some way. Now, instead of just dumping e-waste together with other solid waste, it can be dropped in a recycling center which is responsible for picking up and recycling of e-waste. In Manipur, some 2 years back, that was in 2017, an initiative was launched which is called the Karo Sambhav. It is a tech-enabled, environmentally beneficial and socially responsible e-waste producer responsibility organization. So this is a PRO, the Producer Responsibility Organization. A very recent work of these Karo Sambhav was where High Court of Manipur, which is located in Mantripukari, Imphal, has transferred the ownership of electronic waste weighing 927 kgs to Karo Sambhav Private Limited on 6th of August 2019 for responsibly recycling of the e-waste. So that is why it is important to understand and identify such partner organizations for management of our electronic waste. Another organization, or rather I would say a small industry, started up by a very young entrepreneur. He's a local entrepreneur. I'm talking at the, local context. A local entrepreneur, Mr. Debeshwar Irom. He's from the PATHAW area. He has already found ways to recycle waste and he has been successfully running an industry out of it.
That's a very good initiative.
Not only for himself, he also provides job to as many as 15%. So basically what he does is that he takes up all these plastic waste and electronic waste, uses them up to produce pipe after recycling the waste. So we do need organizations like Karo Sambhav or proprietors or entrepreneurs like Mr. Debeshwar Irom for management of our ever-growing electronic waste.
We have to come out from the cocoon, right?
Yes.
And started taking initiative. That's a very good information that you have provided us, and it's good to know that there are people out there. There's hope
There is certainly hope
Yeah.
with entrepreneurs and organizations like this when people understand and identify the issues.
Right, true. So coming to one thing, the scientific ways of reclaiming polluted water and soil, there must be a way of it. Since you are quite an expertise on that, could you just give us a bright side of that?
Now, there are several options for treating or cleaning up soil and water contaminated with pollutants.
Okay.
Now, there are cleanup or remedial technologies which are available, which are used for reducing the harmful effects, mostly the effects of heavy metals like lead and mercury. One of such technology is by using methods like excavation,
Okay.
for example, wherein the contaminated sites are the contaminated material is physically removed from the contaminated site.
Okay.
Then you have another which is known as the stabilization of heavy metals.
Okay.
A process called stabilization. In this, what is done is that the soil on the site, which consists of the chemicals, they cause the certain chemicals are added to the soil.
Okay.
And on adding of these chemicals to the soil, the heavy metals, they form certain minerals. And these minerals basically are not easily absorbed by plants or animals
Okay.
or people. So basically they do not come into our food chain.
Okay. Just
Okay, so
minimize
it
that, yeah.
minimizes that. So this method is normally also called in situ or in place fixation or stabilization because it happens in that contaminated area in which the heavy metal remains in the soil and can be treated later.
Right.
Then another scientific method to stop the spread of contamination or to extract heavy metals from the soil is the use of plants.
Okay.
Yes, you heard me right. Plants.
Yeah, right.
Which are an example, there are some plants which are used for phytoremediation or reclamation of the soil.
Okay, there are certain types of plants.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, one of the common species is your Brassica species. In our Manipuri dialect, it is known as hangam.
Oh, hangam.
So,
Okay.
species belonging to hangam, Brassica species. Brassica species are useful because they accumulate certain metals while producing high quantities of biomass in the process.
Okay,
And
that's very
Indian
interesting.
mustard is the star of this group.
Okay.
Okay, so according to a scientific report, it has been observed that Brassica species can remove 3 times more cadmium than any other organism. It reduces 28% of lead, up to 48% of selenium, and it is effective against zinc, mercury, copper as well.
Okay.
However, there is a lesser known fact, that is the use of Indian mustard. This Indian mustard was used for removal of radioactive cesium, that is cesium-137 from Chernobyl. The Chernobyl contaminated soil in the vicinity of Chernobyl, which is in Ukraine.
Yeah, right,
Actually,
right.
in the 1980s, there was this
incident,
Chernobyl disaster, which
Right.
was, the largest man-made radioactive
The worst of its kind.
the worst
yeah.
of its kind.
Yeah.
So, Indian mustard was used for, reclamation of the soil, and it is still being used along with some other species of plants.
right.
Also, there have been use of certain microorganisms for effective removal of heavy metals and other products from the soil. I can talk about, for example, Professor Anand Mohan Chakrabarti. He is a well-known scientist, and in 1980s, he and his group, they developed and patented something called a superbug.
Okay.
This superbug was developed from a bacteria which was known as Pseudomonas.
Okay.
From Pseudomonas species, Pseudomonas putida, and this particular bacteria, superbug, could degrade petroleum. So basically, when you have oil spills in water and in land, this superbug can degrade that. So since then, there are various other microorganisms that have been used to treat such oil spills. Currently, there was a Deepwater Horizon oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico. And there was one bacterial species called Alkanivorax borcumensis, which was used for the reclamation of the site to clear the oil spill. So there are various. Now, these are just land and air, you talk about wastewater treatment. Now there are wastewater treatment. It is essential to human health and for the protection of our environment.
Right.
Now you talk about biological wastewater treatment. This is one of the most common method that is used world over, wherein different types of bacteria, other microorganisms are used for the treatment and purification of polluted water. And these bacteria, basically what it does is that it accelerates the process of treating pollution on a small surface and the wastewater treatment plant. So basically the municipal and industrial effluent, which is the main source of wastewater, certain strains of bacteria and other microorganisms are used to reclaim or for the treatment of such wastewater.
So which means we do need people like you. That's why people need superheroes like you, so that you can continue your research and we can keep on finding these interesting things. It's a very good initiative. We are good to know. That's why you are here to share some of your knowledge. We can keep on talking, and it's a vast thing, and I hope you will come back again with new information. But
Sure.
we have to end it here since we have time constraints. So on the concluding note, what do you want to say, or what's your opinion in tackling such kind of environmental pollution, and what are the things that people should do? You cannot keep on doing alone, right? People need to support us. So what's your take on that?
There are many ways actually for tackling environmental pollution, but I would like to stress upon two such ways. One is the attitudinal change of people. Right. Until and unless we change our attitude, these things are not going to change. Then the second is awareness among people about the environment.
Right.
People, they need to respect and identify the importance of environment. Although government has launched many such initiatives and programs or awareness on environment protection, until and unless there is an attitudinal change, no such program can be successful in terms of pollution management in our state or in our country. So that is why attitudinal change is important.
Right.
Having said about the attitudinal change, I would like to bring something to your notice about a certain village in Manipur. It was in last year's paper somewhere, where I read that there's a village in the district of Senapati called Kaibi village, which is in your Manipur itself. Now, the village itself at its own is creating awareness about keeping the village clean. So they're doing their bit.
Right.
So this kind of awareness is required.
Right.
Another such initiatives by young people, the young generation is required at the grassroots level. I have come across a particular non-governmental organization called WiseCrab, which is based in Chandel district of Manipur. So they are creating awareness among general public and basically targeting the school and college students, making them aware about the environmental issues and climate change. So these are some of the attitudinal changes which needs to be brought in to our perspective.
Right.
Now, apart from this attitudinal change, there is a requirement of massive awareness campaign in association with communities, NGOs, local clubs, students' bodies, and other stakeholders. And they need to undertake action to push for better implementation of waste management. So there is also need to focusing on making waste management not the communities but a people's movement by taking the issues, concerns and management of solid waste to citizens at the grassroots level. Finally, I would like to conclude by saying the suitable strategy and action plans should be targeted for addressing these challenges. Then only it would definitely lead to success of an effective pollution management.
Okay, that's true. Better late than never, right?
Very true.
It's good to talk to you, even though it's your first time. Thank you so much for sparing some time with us. I hope you will come back again to share new, updated information with us again in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Sharma.
It's high time that we join hands and do something good for Mother Nature before it's too late. But for today, we have to end here with the concluding part of the interview with Dr. NEETA PATHAW, Research Associate, ICAR IMPHAL, on influence of environmental pollution with our interviewer, KAKCHINGTABAM RITESH Sharma. We will be back again next week with a new topic. Until then, start planting trees.